our leaders are spending time haranguing us about masks and destroying the economy with lockdowns, and every day it makes less sense, and every day it's more infuriating, Tucker. The other big issue is masks, and this idea that we're going to trade, we're going to reduce some restrictions on businesses, but in return, everybody in Los Angeles County, for example, has to wear masks when they go outside. This is absurd. It's absurd on a number of levels. First of all, there's very, very little evidence that the coronavirus is transmitted outdoors anyway, whether or not somebody's symptomatic, whether or not there's a mask. So no, there's no science behind this. And by the way, there's not a lot of evidence that masks would help. I know that some people are saying, well, it's because those states don't have masks. Well, if that's true, how come in Canada, where, as far as I know, mask wearing is not required, there has not been a resurgence? There is very, very little evidence that masks work to slow the community transmission of SARS-CoV-2 or any respiratory virus. And that's why, until this year, if you look at the recommendations that the CDC and other places made about pandemics, they did not encourage the wearing of masks. And I don't know what has changed in the science. I'm talking about outside, I'm talking about community wearing by well people, universal masking. I don't know what's changed. There's no real evidence that masks work. You listen, for 20 years, we and the WHO, the CDC, the WHO have come up with a lot of different recommendations for what to do about respiratory virus pandemics, about influenza pandemics mainly. And they did not really recommend masks. You can go look at their recommendations. There is very, very little evidence that masks work.
No, of course it's not needed. I mean, as Phil said, very, very limited instances masks may be useful.
This has gone for those people from, we need to shut down society, to, oh, if we close down bars and everybody wears a mask that may or may not do anything for you, then the virus is going to go away. So which is it?
The fact is that masks do very, very little, if anything, and all over Europe, they are reopening, despite the fact that there are spikes in cases. For the most part, they're reopening without any outdoor mask mandates, and in some cases, no indoor mask mandates. There is just very, very little evidence that any of the steps that any of these people want to take, up to and including full lockdowns, which may or may not have actually worsened the problems in New York and the Northeast, do much.